I am here to say that it is never too late to set your intentions. If that's something that you like to do and you haven't been able to do it yet, even though January has already started, now is the perfect time. Like, it didn't need to happen before January 1st. And if you're burnt out from the usual, rigorous goal setting process, I have a really easy exercise that I'm excited to share with you today because it really simplifies the whole process and it moves it away from a stressful list of goals that we're usually beating ourselves up over. It usually comes from a place of I'm not doing this enough, or I wish I was this. And it moves that into a fun, exciting place of dreaming and imagining and getting really intentional about how we want to live our lives. Okay, so today I'm walking you through the Odyssey Plan, which is a career and life design tool developed at Stanford. And it's part of Stanford University's Designing Your Life curriculum, which is taught by design educators Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. Shout out to them for creating this tool. It's a game changer. So this is basically a half an hour, give or take, exercise that's actually enjoyable and really helpful if you struggle with these rigid 5-year plans and just very strict work backs, because I love mapping out my future and my goals, but I also have a hard time setting one specific path because to me, the future seems really malleable. It always has. I can have a North Star and I kind of try to approach my life with a North Star, but I'm very aware that whatever I'm choosing now will probably look completely different a few years from now. I am definitely not where I thought I would be at 35 when I was goal setting and planning at 30. And that's okay, because I think I'm in a great place right now, even if it's different than what I expected. And I'm glad I didn't stay stuck or attached to one singular idea of what my life should be, because I would have turned down a lot of things that have been fulfilling and exciting and maybe a pivot from what I was expecting, but have been an amazing ride. So the Odyssey Plan is a much more expansive approach that just helps you imagine multiple futures and multiple paths over the next 5 years. And it helps you zoom out and ask these bigger questions and lets you lead more with your imagination and curiosity so you can plan with intention instead of setting goals that are just based on fear or scarcity or maintaining the comfort of what you're doing now. This is also a cool resource because it uses design thinking principles to intentionally design your life, like iterating and prototyping. And we do that by imagining and testing out elements of our potential life paths that we're going to be setting before we fully commit to them. And this tool also shows us how many versions and directions and iterations we can take of our paths and our directions and our goals and then build upon. So here's how it works. I am going to link the exercise in the description below so you can follow along. I'm also going to pop it up on screen intermittently. And you can also write this down as we go through it and pause or come back to it after and just answer all of these questions and exercises. We're going to imagine 3 totally different versions of what your next 5 years could look like. So plan number 1, imagine your current trajectory. What life will be like if you continue on the exact path that you're on right now. The same job, same routines, same relationships, and the same direction. So spend some time writing what this will look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now if you just stay the course that you're currently on. And Stanford also encourages you to not only write, but to draw some visual or graphic representations of what you'd be doing or achieving every year for the next 5 years. So for all the artists out there, get out your pencils if that sounds like your worst nightmare. I would also fuck around and do a vision board kind of in each column of year 1, year 2, year 3, where you can just grab some graphics that you find online and just basically have a written component, a visual component. Here's what life will be like if I just continue on my current path. You're going to also want to answer a few reflection questions about this direction. So, for example, can I handle the ups and downs of entrepreneurship in the long run if you're on the entrepreneurship life path? Or if you're working corporate, it could be will I be happy working for a big corporation 5 years from now? Or maybe you're asking yourself questions about where or how you live. So do I ultimately want to live in the chaos of downtown, or would I feel isolated or lonely if I moved out into the country? So create a bunch of questions based on how you're currently living, reflect on them, answer them, and then give this plan a title or a headline. So mine for plan number 1 might be making moves in mental health and love. So that really reflects my current trajectory, which is my career that's very much in the mental health space right now, working for a mental health startup full-time, working in the self-improvement area with this podcast, and then also bringing in this component of how much I'm investing in building the relationship that I've always wanted with my partner. So you've got your title, you've got your reflections, you've got your visuals. Next, you're going to gauge from 0 to 100 how this current path contributes in these 4 categories. So number 1, from 0 to 100, resources. Do you have the time, the money, and the skills to sustain this path over the next 5 years? Will staying on this path for the next 5 years meet your resource needs? Will you be making enough money? Do you have the resources that you'll need if you continue? Number 2, likability. Do you like this life? When you look 5 years ahead, are you like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is my life. It looks great. Or are you like, oh God, whose life is this? But this can not be mine. Number 3, confidence. How confident are you that you can succeed on this path that you're currently on, that you can feel good about it? How confident in yourself are you that you are reaching your full potential in these 5 years if you stay this path? And number 4, you're rating coherence from 0 to 100. So is this current plan number 1 path consistent with your values? Is it consistent with who you want to be and how you see yourself being in the world? So rate 0 to 100, those 4 categories, and you have now completed plan number 1. Now we're going to do this all again for plan number 2. Plan number 2, or life number 2, is an alternate, realistic path for your life. So this is a course that you realistically might pursue if plan number 1 doesn't work out, or if you pull the plug on plan number 1, here's my backup, here's exactly what I would do if I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now. So it's going to be realistic. It's going to be something you could very probably explore if you just change your path a bit. Maybe you have a backup job or career path you'd like to explore. Maybe there's a shift in your relationships that you'd make if you were to make a change. Maybe you'd move from the suburbs to the city because there's more opportunities, or you'd go be closer to your family elsewhere. So go through this exact same process that you did for plan number 1, exploring where this version of you ends up if you just make some small changes, realistic changes, and have like this alternate life. For example, the title of my alternate life plan would be something like A Writer's Life of Creativity and Love. So I explored in plan number 2 what it would look like for me to kind of quit working for other people and to narrow my focus and go all in on my career as a writer, publishing books, being a freelance writer, and really just like owning this identity of writer that I've always had. And how could I explore more writing and songwriting and other components of that identity with my partner in my relationship and in love? Now you're going to make more reflection questions for yourself based on plan number 2. You're going to gauge those 4 categories again, saying with this alternate life from 0 to 100, how does it measure up in these 4 categories? And you're going to add some visuals. And then we move on to plan number 3. And if this feels daunting to do in one sitting, like I got really into flow when I did this, but if you're like, hell no, I can't just whip this all up in half an hour. You can even spread it out over 3 days. Day 1, explore your current life. Day 2, explore realistic alternate life you could be living. Day 3, you tackle plan number 3. So plan number 3 is your unlimited wildcard path. This is the life that you would explore if money and logistics weren't in the equation at all. So you're going to explore a future where other people's opinions don't matter, where obligations are not calling the shots, and where you're just not worried about money or status. You're just really going all in on the things that like light your heart up. So if nothing was stopping you, what would you be doing? It's honestly like a scary question to ask. I think a lot of us avoid answering that question because then we'd have to face the fact that maybe we're out of alignment. Maybe we're not reaching our full potential, but it doesn't have to be scary. By facing it, by naming it, by getting it all out, you start to see the little tiny ways you could shift towards integrating those pieces of yourself that maybe you wish you had or that you wish you were doing. So try not to be self-conscious about this. Don't self-edit. Just go all in as you write and reflect and draw your dream unlimited wildcard path life. I'll go first, just to take the edge off. Mine would be called something like Making Movies and California Dreaming. And as you can guess, I would picture myself screenwriting and making documentaries in California, doing really purpose-driven creative work in my ideal place to live. That feels scary. It feels like there's 1,000 reasons why I couldn't or wouldn't do that. But if I pull out all of the safety mechanisms like I've placed around my life on like what's realistic and what's probable and like what makes the most sense, if I throw that all out the window, this is probably the one that's scary and exciting. And you're going to go through that whole process again, the reflection, the questions. You're going to gauge those 4 categories of how does this measure up from 0 to 100 in terms of resources, coherence, confidence, and likability. Now, when you've finished brain dumping about all of these 3 plans, take some time to really reflect on the following questions. Which plan excites you the most? Like, which one gets your heart beating fast and you're like, oh my God, that literally would be the dream? Which plan feels the most draining? And be realistic about it. I mean, I think it's really easy for me personally to be like, oh, the wildcard life is so exciting and like the safe life that I'm choosing is really draining. But when you look at those categories that you rated from 0 to 100, maybe you're like, no, the current life I'm living is actually the most exciting. And it meets all of these needs that I have, and it's great. So really look at that. Look at any criteria that's standing out to you between your 3 plans. Maybe where you live is actually more important than you thought. Or maybe your hobbies and what you do in your free time are pulling you heavily in one direction. Maybe you're super happy with your current life, but in your dream life, you were traveling a lot more and you were going around the world. You were like a travel photographer and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to keep my current life, but I should pay attention to wanting to travel more. And then the last reflection question is, how could you prototype or test one of these life paths to understand it better? AKA, you don't need to blow up your whole life, but what are some little ways that you could test it out? Take it for a test drive. Take it for a spin. See all the little actions or tweaks you could make to like try that on and take elements from that dream life and see how it can apply. From here, you have a better understanding of where you're stuck, where you're excited, and what dreams might be worth paying more attention to. You now have these seeds that you can intentionally plant this year by setting goals that ladder up to your preferred life plan. So even if you're staying the course, what are some little seeds we can take from those other lives that really excited us? And how can we plant them now so that in 5 years, maybe we're closer than we expected? I really like the Odyssey Plan because it prioritizes curiosity and it reduces this fear that we often have of making the wrong decisions. I really like the Odyssey Plan because it prioritizes curiosity and it reduces fear. I think a lot of us have fear around making the wrong decisions. And this shows us that we always have multiple opportunities. There is no wrong option. There's just different paths that we get to explore throughout our lives. And we get to decide which one to explore in the chapter that we're in right now. And this way of planning and dreaming also just reminds us that life isn't linear. I always say there's more than one way to adult, and there really is because there's so many paths that you can take. And if you chart out the course of your life, it usually looks like a zigzag. It's not linear, and that's okay. It's the peaks and the valleys of that zigzag life that are all part of being human. That's where we learn. That's where we grow. That's where we take chances. That's where we fuck up and figure something out about ourselves that was so important to actualizing who we really are. The most important thing is that we just keep going, that we allow ourselves to dream and not just stay comfortable, but really dream. And then we just keep showing up and taking actions in micro steps towards those dreams. I really hope this helps inspire you guys to plan a really intentional year, to keep dreaming and setting goals that ladder up to those dreams bit by bit, step by step, year by year, and they can always change. They're always going to be in flux. The important step is just the checking in with yourself and making sure you're on a path that you actually want to be on. And this exercise really did that for me. So let me know if it helps. Download it below in the show notes and definitely try it out. Let me know what you think. Let's share our dreams with each other. Let's keep each other accountable. And thank you guys for being here. I am so excited for 2026 and all the things that we are all going to do together. I appreciate you. I am cheering for you, and you've got this.